We lost Sharon, I think.
Recording in progress.
All right. Is everyone able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, Carol, if you want to get us started?
Yes, so it's good to see everybody again today. And I wanted to introduce the newest team to the team member.
You're fine.
So many of you have met Edna already, but she has a new partner, Tammy Quillen. There's Tammy. Can you see her?
Oh,
We have
your
a
cup's
cup
in the
right
way.
in the way. Okay. So Tammy is a nurse, started with us about 2 weeks ago, I believe, and has sort of been following in Edna's footsteps, and will be meeting a lot of you as clients and getting to know you on this Zoom. So we are so pleased to have Tammy with us, and excited that she's going to be a part of our team in the future. So I hope all of you get to meet her and talk with her, and I know you're going to find her to be a real addition to our staff. So, okay, so Kristen, would you like to?
Yeah, I'm introducing the lady of the hour here with Jill Pegram. Jill, I'm going to read her bio really quick. She has an innate sense for capturing those moments in life that are indescribable while putting them into formats to preserve the memories for generations with her photography and scrapbooking skills. While Jill enjoys retirement with her husband Phil and their dog Dutch, who's training to be a service dog, she has a vast foundation in healthcare. She has an MBA from Butler in marketing and has held many positions with one of the state's largest hospital systems in such roles as public relations, physician liaison, and finance, to mention a few. She also has a personal experience with caring for both of her late parents through their aging maze. So, Miss Jill, you want to take it away?
Well, good
And-
morning.
Yeah, I was
Thank
gonna
you for
say, just
that.
have, if anybody has any questions, just feel free. You can mention them in the chat section or just raise your hand and we'll kind of go with the flow.
Well, and that's a good segue with me because I've done this before, but I haven't done it over Zoom. So I want to make sure that if anyone has any questions, that you can certainly ask them and we can get them answered for you. But I'm here this morning to talk about capturing the moments and preserving the memories. And this is very informal, and it's meant to be kind of a overlook of photography and scrapbooking. And most importantly, above everything else, is preserving your legacy and telling your story. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And we can see that photography has really changed over the years. We've gone from cameras like this, like the little brownie cameras that we used to have. My parents had one many, many years ago where you had to kind of look around the top, down the top, and see your subject. It was very small in that box. We've gone to a little bit other bigger, bulkier cameras. And then we came out in the 70s, 60s or 70s. If any of you remember the Polaroid camera, where you could literally point and shoot and the picture would come out the side. And it was almost a precursor of our digital moments now, where we can actually see the photos almost as quickly as we take them. Digital age kept going, and sure enough, we came up with these little tiny cameras, which for me, I was thrilled because I could really carry them in my purse or my pocket. And when my son was young, I could capture just about any moment on this little camera. Then now, I guess I should say, most of us have some type of a phone, and most of our photos are taken pretty much on our phones. I do have I do have a bigger digital camera that sometimes I enjoy using for maybe better portraits or things like that. But 90% of the photos that I take now are really with this handy dandy phone. And I'm sure that most of you do too. But why do we take pictures now? What is it that we are trying to accomplish? And what's our purpose? And what is it that we're trying to capture? Is it documenting memories for ourselves? Documenting memories for someone else? Taking pictures to give as a gift. I used to do that for my parents, for their only grandson. And that was always a fun thing to do. Or are we using photos to create memories with someone else? As a matter of fact, when I was talking to Carol last week, she mentioned that she is teaching her granddaughter how to bake and using family recipes. But during that time of the two of them together, she's also documenting it by taking pictures. So not only documenting the family recipes, but she's also documenting their time together. So it's very important to relish those memories and save them in a way that we can access them later. So how can we learn to take better pictures? And it isn't a lot that we have to adjust to be able to take better pictures. And really, any photo that we take is something better than not taking anything at all, I guess I should say. But one of the things, actually, there are 3 ways that you can create better photos. And it isn't something that you have to focus on. It's not something that you have to think of all the time. But those 3 ways are lighting, how you compose your photo, and then later, maybe how you do a little bit of editing if you have any interest in doing that. So the first area is lighting. And as we even learned here in the conference room this morning, we always know that natural light will produce a better picture than any other light that you can use. And that doesn't mean changing everything that you do. What it might mean, though, is making a little bit of a tweak as you set up your photo, if you have that opportunity, even when you're inside. I don't know if you lately have taken any photos or over the years taking any photos where you might be inside and it's got a little bit of a yellow hue to it, or in this day and age with LEDs and fluorescence, it might even have kind of a blue tinge to it. Well, we can make some little changes that will allow us to create a better lighting with natural lighting. So if you're in your apartment, in your home, and you want to take a photo of something, you have a friend over, or you're going to someone's home to celebrate a birthday, you can certainly turn that person a little bit toward a window, or open some blinds, or open even some curtains that would allow a little bit of natural light come in, turn off the overheads, and bingo, you've got a little bit better quality photo for you to take. And that you could position yourself between the subject and the window, obviously not blocking the light, but you can get a much more flattering photo if you're closer to a window or in natural light. The time of the day can make a big difference too. If, I don't know, over the years, if you've heard doctors tell us that we should not be in the sun between the hours of 11 and 3 because we might get a sunburn because the sun is so bright. The same thing applies to your photography. During the midday hours between, say, 11 and 3, the sun is at its harshest. It's overhead. It kind of bleaches out the coloring, and it can also leave shadows on your subject's face. So if you're on vacation or taking a trip to the park or going to a flower garden somewhere and you want to take pictures, the best photos that you will take will be in the morning before 11 o'clock and say later afternoon after 4. And the colors in your photos will be better and the light will not be as harsh. And we saw this a couple of years ago when we went actually to visit the Grand Canyon. And how many of us, if you've had the opportunity to visit the Grand Canyon, has zillions of pictures, and it never seems to be enough pictures to take of the Grand Canyon. But the photos we found that we took during midday did not really show the beautiful rock colors and formations as they did, say, early morning or later afternoon and evening. I even let my son talk me into getting up at 4:15 to drive to the eastern edge of the South Rim to watch the sun come up. I'm a morning person, but I'm not sure that early in the morning was something that I really wanted to do, but I'm glad I did because we have some really good memories of that time. So we have your natural versus indoor lighting. We have kind of your time of day. And then we also have the weather that can affect your photos, whether you're taking photos inside or out. Say cloudy days, rainy days, cast a little bit darker hue, a little bit of a more blue hue. And I don't know if any of you have tried to take a picture over the years of snow and how beautiful it is, but I can never capture the true beauty because it sometimes has more of a bluish hue to it, which you can adjust a little bit through your photo editing. So that's kind of just an overview on lighting. I know it's kind of a bird's eye view, but just to give you something to think about the next time you take a picture. So does anybody have any questions about that right now? Have any photos that you've taken? Okay. Well, the next thing, as far as being able to help you take better photos, is the actual composition of your photo. And that means I'm going to challenge you to kind of think outside the box. Most of us will grab our phone or our camera, depending on what you're taking photos with. And our natural inclination is to take a horizontal photo. It's easier to grab, easier to manipulate. And I would like to challenge you now to maybe think through a little bit and changing that angle. First of all, and the easiest to do, is to go vertical. And sometimes that can change the composition of your photo if you're going from this way to this way. The next thing I would like to challenge you, and this is one of the favorite things that I enjoy doing, is maybe taking a photo from the rear of your subject. Now, we have to kind of be careful because we don't want to be unflattering, but one of the things that I enjoy is taking pictures from the rear. And I know I've got a little bit of I should have taken this out of the frame because we do have the window behind us. But this is, so I apologize for the quality on that. This is a photo of my son and husband when we were in Michigan a few years ago. And, or actually several years, because my son is now 23, but they were walking a little bit ahead of me. And I saw my son reach for my husband's hand, and as they were walking toward the lighthouse. And I love this picture. As you can tell, I still have it displayed in our home because I love the moment that it captured between the two of them. The other photo that I have taken behind that I love is, again, another photo of the two of them. And when my husband was teaching my son to fish. He was about 4 here, and they were so focused on putting the worms on the fishing pole that I was able to capture that moment. So those are a couple of examples of photos from behind. It can display a little bit of a different emotion, and it's just something that can be a little bit different. The next angle that I would suggest is maybe a photo from above. If you can look over your camera, actually it would be this way, And an example of that could be if you had a grandchild and it's in a pile of leaves and you wanted to capture it maybe a little bit differently. Or I've taken photos of my feet with my dog's front feet in front of and next to me with just the 4 feet, which was kind of fun. The other one that I took a couple of years ago, unfortunately, my mother had a stroke, and she was just in her last couple of weeks of life, and I was sitting by her bed, and I noticed her thin hands on her bed, on the blanket that my dad used to have. And I wanted to record this moment of the time that I had spent with her without taking a photo of her directly. So what I did is I slipped my hand under hers and then snapped a photo from above so that I could document this time with her in a way that I would have a good memory, but it would also be flattering for her. So we have taking pictures from behind, taking pictures from above, and then changing the camera angle from vertical to horizontal. The other thing I want to caution you about while taking pictures is trying to be aware, don't let it delay your photo, but maybe being aware of really odd things sticking out of someone's head, like a branch or maybe a flower arrangement that's right behind them. That way, it might be a little bit more flattering for your subject. The last thing about composition is we have a tendency to center our subject in the middle of the photo. And what I would like to maybe challenge you to think about is maybe tweaking the angle just a tad, where your subject could be maybe in the right, for you, it would be the right third of the photo or the left third of the photo. Sometimes that can create a little bit more drama, and or if you are outside somewhere where you want to capture more of the landscape, then that would allow that to happen at the same time. So any questions there about the different camera angles?
It's not so
And if
much.
not,
Ooh,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's not so much the camera angles, but I like kind of the details and kind of thinking outside of the box, because I just had a baby. She's 5 months old, and so I mean, my whole camera is just pictures of her, and I'm trying to get the details of everything and kind of thinking outside of the box and taking pictures of her little hands and her little toes and things that I want to remember, because time's going so fast. And as opposed to just, the regular, not that I have plenty of pictures of her face too, but, kind of just of kind of the details.
And those are the things that we do relish later, that we just look back and go, how could those hands be so small? Or how could those fingers be so small? And that kind of goes along with the next point of being your distance from your subject. Sometimes we have a tendency to take pictures pretty far away from someone, which is absolutely fine. We want to capture a lot of different memories, especially if you're going to a wedding and you want the whole dress, or your grandchildren or children are going to dances and you want to do that. But a lot of times it's nice to be able to move a little closer. We don't need to know the color of the shoes or the color of the pants. And if you're doing children, the closer that you can get, the more emotion that can be radiated from a smile, or from their twinkle in their eyes, or like you said, Kristen, their hands or feet. So I'd like to also challenge you to maybe move a little closer and change your distance between your subject and your camera. And the other thing I want to really encourage you in this is to get yourself in the photo, because the people that care about you, that love you, are going to want to see you in the photo. And especially as moms, Kristen, we have a tendency to take lots of pictures of our kids, but we realize that maybe we're not as actively in those photos that we would like to be, because someday those photos are going to be what's important to them. So, any questions on that piece of the composition? I loved your comments, Kristen. Thank you. Okay. Editing is the third part of maybe making our pictures a little bit better. And I'll be the first to admit, I have spent a lot of time over the years looking at computer programs that you can use on the computer, the big computer or a laptop, things like Lightroom, Photoshop Elements, Photoshop, and Canva. And I have tried to learn those. And as I was telling Tammy and Edna this morning, I enjoy technology, but only to the point where it doesn't take more time to use than maybe what I feel benefits me for that particular use. So I have really been able to pare down my editing with apps that you can get on your phone, whether you have an iPhone or Android, thank you. I'm still at that age where things can go poof out my head. There are apps that you can download that do a lot of that for you. I've listed a few here. Pick, Tap, Go Plus is my app that I go to 95% of the time. It has a lot of nice preset filters, preset settings that I can use, that I only have to tap on my photo and use a slide bar to adjust the color, to adjust the contrast, to adjust lighting. And it is very helpful to maybe make those little changes that might help you appreciate your photos a little bit more. You certainly don't have to do a thing to them. Again, I want to keep coming back to the goal is to try to capture the moment and document a legacy. So those are a few of I won't spend a lot of time on that because I don't know how much time that you would actually enjoy doing photo editing. But if you had one app to download that I thought would help you make a difference and that is easy to use, is Pick, Tap, Go Plus. So let me stop there and see if anybody has any comments or questions. I'm trying not to go too fast, and I'm trying not to go in too much detail, but it's certainly, if you have a question or a comment, I'm certainly glad to address that. Yes, Kathy. Hi.
Thank you.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Kathy.
You had to do it. You had to do it. Okay. I take a lot of pictures on my iPhone, and I edit them usually on my iPhone, sometimes on my computer, my PC, but it's very old. Is there an app or is there something that I can use to take out some of the background? Is that getting too deep into technology? Because I don't want to spend a lot of time, but is there a way that I can block out something easily, block out things in the background, or just center on one thing?
There is, and there is a program on the computer called Canva. As a matter of fact, I'm in a class right now, online class, to learn to use that better. That will take a whole background out, that the whole background around your subject. I'm not to that lesson yet, but there is within the iPhone photo app where your photos are kept there. And if you have the photo app on, it sounds like you have a PC though, and not a Mac. as far
I
as
do.
a computer?
A PC. Mhm.
Oh, PC, okay. Because I was going to say the Mac function of photos on the Mac computer will also do this too, is there is a paintbrush or a touch. I'm looking this up so I can tell you, or I can actually get back to you also if I can't find it very easily on the editing of the photos.
Just, you can get back to me, that's
Let
fine.
me do that, because under the photo app where you keep your photos, there is, I think there is an ability to be able to do like a little paintbrush touch with your finger to remove, or with a loop, a circle, that would allow you to remove a branch maybe that's coming out of somebody's head. Or if you've got a shadow on someone's face, you can draw a circle around it and match the skin tone that's next to it. I'm not as familiar with that on my phone, because typically I will do that kind of thing on my computer, but the overall answer is yes, you can do that.
Okay, thank you. I'm also very interested in your class that you talked about. You're taking a class, a Zoom class? Or
Yes,
is
it's through canva.com, and Canva, it's been around for a while, and a lot of people who do their own presentations or posters, it's great. I'm only into about the third class right now, so I'm just learning to do text on your photos. I can also do that with some apps in my phone, but this is to use on my bigger computer, which allows me more flexibility in the editing, and it's canva.com. And they do have a free account. You can also upgrade for like $10 a month, and it gives you more features. But what I've seen right now, that Canva so far meets my needs, just the free version. And it also has an app for your phone, so you can
that's just what I was
access
gonna
your so you can access your account at Canva either on your phone or on your computer.
Okay.
And
Thank you
I
so
am
much.
really, I'm finding it so much easier. I don't know about you, Kathy, if you've ever used any of these other Lightroom or Photoshop elements, and I just find that they can be cumbersome. You can do a lot with them. My purpose in the photography is more of the documenting and putting them in books. I would love to do more photo editing, but I just find some of those programs a little more difficult to use, and Canva I am finding is wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck with that. Okay, and as Kathy mentioned, here we are taking all of these photos on our phones. And I don't know about you, but has anyone ever come up to you and said, oh, do you have any latest photos of your grandchild or your children or your puppy? And you open your phone and you go, yeah, I do. And you're going like this, going, okay, I'm trying to find where it is. And you really never access the exact photo that you are looking for. Or the other part of that is you are given the gift of boxes of photos that you've either taken in the past or you've been fortunate enough to inherit from parents or grandparents. And we have boxes of these from over the years, and we really don't know what to do with them or how to manage them in a way that they're actually useful for us. Kathy, since you had mentioned all the photos that you take, how do you organize them? Are you being good about trying to put them in folders or someplace on your phone that you can access them after you've taken them?
I have a few folders, but mainly they're just exactly what you said, scroll through.
And try to find them.
And find them. You know,
And-
and you can identify people. If you're looking for a grandson, there's a way to identify people. and then go to it. But no, mine are not organized. And that is it's a real goal of mine, but I'm not sure I'll ever achieve it.
Oh, I think you can. I think you can, because, and the face recognition is really nice with people, or you can tag individual photos with first names or last names, or, and you can do searches that way. But a couple of these principles that I'm going to talk about next will work with either the photos on your phone, or really the photos in your boxes too. These will take a little bit longer, but they will work on either the principles that we're going to talk about will work on either types of photos. The first thing I'm going to suggest is that you review and delete. And most people will start to shudder, myself included, when we start talking about deleting photos. But how good and how useful are these photos if we have so many that we can't even access the ones we want when we want them? So I think what we want to think about, whether they're physical photos or our photos on our phone, is determine how often that we want to actually review and delete. And if you're taking a lot of photos, and right now, I guess I'll focus on our phones. If we're taking a lot of photos, that's going to look a little bit different than if you're only taking a few. If you're taking a few a week, you could sort by, well, you could sort by, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I'm still at that age where that happens. You can call them once a day, once a week, or maybe once a month. I know if I'm on vacation and taking a lot of pictures during the day, if we have time in the evening when we're relaxing back at the hotel, I will do an initial look of the photos that I've taken during the day and delete the ones that are the most obvious to delete, meaning the color's not good, it didn't capture what I was looking at or looking for. I might, well, and we'll talk about some of those principles, but if I'm not taking a lot of pictures, I might on a Sunday afternoon when it's rainy, go through and look at the photos that I've done for the week and delete them and review them that way. So think through yourself how often that you want to go in and review and delete. So some of the things that we want to look for that can make it a little easier is, first of all, we want to go in and delete the duplicates or multiples. How many times have we taken, especially if we have a group photo with friends or family, we'll take 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 because we want to make sure that eyes are open and we can see people and things like that. So the first and the most easy to do is to go ahead and delete the multiples or the duplicates. If you go back to our photos that we have already developed, I don't know about you, but I remember taking film photos into Target or Walmart. At the time, I might have 12 or 24 roll of film, and all of a sudden they have a 2-for-1 special. And I go, oh, this is great. And you go home with twice as many photos. Well, those are great photos as you're going through hard copies to either give away or throw away. And again, it's hard to say that, but we want to make sure that we keep the ones that we want to keep. The next area, once we've looked at duplicates or multiples, is look at quality issues. Is the photo too dark?
Excuse me.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi. Do you have a recommendation for any type of software that automatically goes through and deletes duplicates? I have thousands of pictures. And you know, I just wonder if there's an automated way to do that that you feel comfortable doesn't delete your good stuff?
You know what? I do not. I have not come across anything like that. If it was based on facial recognition or the recognition of the surroundings, but that is not something that I have come across, unfortunately. Has anybody else that we know of come across anything like that? I think a lot of it is doing it one by one. And I think remembering to cull your photos on a regular basis would be helpful to keep that under control in the future. Now, going back, I hate to admit that I have over 30,000 photos on my computer at home. So early on, I was not good at that either. I would take pictures for school outings and upload them to Dropbox so that families who would not be able to attend could download photos. And so I have a lot of pictures on my computer of kids that I don't even know anymore. But that is a goal that I'm slowly going through, because I could really, at this point, probably delete about at least 10,000 photos off my computer. And it would probably help my speed some too. So
I have a
so I'm
couple.
sorry, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I have a
That's
couple.
okay.
too.
Did
We
you
have-
know of anything, Kristen?
I was gonna say, because again, with the baby, I mean, I'm just sitting there just taking pictures, and 90% of them are not good. She's closing her eyes or sneezing or doing something, and I can't bring myself to delete them yet. And I know that I need to, because when someone asks for pictures, obviously I'm not gonna show them those. But I wish that there was, maybe I can do some research, and maybe there is some, because I need it too. I need someone to go through the 30 pictures I just took of my baby and give me the 2 good ones. But I also bought a flash drive. So I'm just downloading all of the pictures, putting them on this flash. I know there's the cloud, but that's it makes me nervous. I like
too.
having something actually that I can keep, that I know is going to keep all my pictures, and then going through and deleting off of my phone the not so good ones. So, because I know that I still have them if I want a sneezing baby picture sometime down the road. But
Well, and I was going to say, with a baby, you may want to keep some of those, because
Yeah,
those are memories of a time when those won't occur very often in the future. And I would like to tell you, Kristen, doing the flash drive is perfect. I would get another one. I know they're a little expensive, and keep one out of your home. And any of us who have, especially if we're not backing up in the cloud, and I kind of feel the same way. I have a hard drive that I actually have 2 hard drives that I back up our whole computer, and we keep one off-site and one on-site, and then I rotate them the first of every month. So it backs up not only my photos, but also any banking or any word processing that I do, and it's out of the house in case that we would have a fire or some other tragic event. So that's something else
That's a good
brings
idea.
up a
Thank
good
you.
point. Alrighty, so we've looked at duplicates, we've looked at maybe quality issues, too light, too dark, maybe the eyes are closed, Kristen, or they're sneezing, or there's maybe awkward poses, and even photos that we have, getting rid of pictures of people that we don't even know anymore. Now, luckily, my mother was really good about writing on the back of photos. And so as far as family, we pretty much know who that is. But sometimes just getting rid of the photo is what we need to do. So the other area when we're looking at our photos, ultimately, what is our personal feeling about that specific photo? And Kristen, you brought up a good point. Your little one is so young that you want to remember a lot of those things. But if we look at that photo and just say, wow, that's not flattering, or I would never show that to anyone, including a scrapbook, then I would suggest you either put it in a folder that you label no, put a label on so that you know that those are photos that you really don't care about, but you can't bring yourself to delete, or go ahead and delete it off your phone. The number one thing to do, though, is making sure you're going through your photos and trying to get rid of the ones that you really don't like. And once you do all of that, it can be very freeing, And it makes the next step of our little discussion here much easier. And that is, how do we organize them? And the purpose of organization is to really get the number down to something that's just really a lot more manageable and gives us joy and gives us the ability to share with someone else. Now, the organizational piece might be as far as most of you go, organizing them on your phone. And that's great, because the next time someone comes up, you can say, yeah, I have a picture of my grandson. And you go right to that folder and you have 20 or 30 or 100 pictures of him that you can then scroll through pretty quickly. So what you want to do is create an organizational system that works for you. And that could either be on your phone or again with your hard copy. And the first thing you want to do is to create a folder or an album. In your phone, there's an ability, and Kathy, you've already referred to it, is the ability to create a folder. Now, you can create those folders multiple ways. The key is to create it so that you can remember what's going to bring back the memory of that photo so that you can find it. It might be by an event, like for instance, a granddaughter's wedding, a birthday party, a gathering, anniversary party, those kinds of things. And that is often the easiest way to do it is anniversary 2020, Jill's birthday 2021. And then when you remember the event or the photo that you want to share, you can go right to that folder. Now, your phone will typically keep your folders in alphabetical order. So you could do birthday Jill 2020. So then all of your birthdays would be grouped together. Birthday Tammy, birthday Sam, so that you can begin to locate those. So you can do it by event. You can also do it chronologically. If you don't take a lot of pictures, you could do it for the month of November, or you could do it on a week of November. Or you could do it for 2020 or January of 2020. These are, doing it chronologically is somewhat a little bit more difficult to find what you're looking for unless you remember the year that you, or the time of the year that you took your photo. The other thing, you could create folders by actually family unit or by person. And that is good in your phone as far as if you're taking lots of pictures of grandkids or friends or a spouse, you could list them under their last name, their first name, and then when you know the person that you're wanting to pull up or your vacation, you can go right to that folder. With hard copy photos, family unit might be the way to go. My husband is into genealogy. And of course, I'm into memory keeping. So it's a match made in heaven. But we have started, both of my parents were only children. And so I have inherited all the photos from grandparents on both sides of the family through my parents plus ours. And then my husband, since he is the genealogy guru, we have a lot of pictures from his side of the family. I think there's over 5 or 6 huge boxes of photos. So what we are going through now is sorting through photos and putting them by family unit, Pegram, Andrews, and putting them in by last name with the idea that we would create 2 heritage albums for our son, since he is an only child, that would document my husband's side of the family through his parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, and then my side of the family the same way. So he would end up with 2 compact books that would really present the family history on both sides. So sometimes the family unit might be the way to do that. Now for Kristen, for you, you may want to, especially this first year, do it by months. especially those first 3, 6, 9, and 12 months, and the photos that are in between, so that you can begin to access those photos more easily if you want to share them. Any questions about that? That's kind of a high level organization, but I think the biggest thing here is making sure as you take the photo, create a folder or go ahead and add it to a folder that you've already created. Any comments or questions on that? Okay. This is kind of where I stop for a minute, because some of you, this will be as far as you go. But as we go into actually documenting our photos, more so than just in our folders, this is where I want to encourage all of you to tell the story behind the photos. And how you do that, it could be in a journal, it could be in a memory album where I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. But this is a legacy that you are going to be able to leave for your children and grandchildren someday. And we think sometimes that maybe they don't care about that legacy, but as we all age, those things become more important to us. Now, as we go past maybe 1 or 2 generations, maybe the younger generation wouldn't care as much. I know that I am not personally as in tune with my great-grandparents' stories, although I love them, as I am with my parents and grandparents, because I have the emotional connection with them and their memories are part of my memories. So, but be sure that you take the time to write something down to share with your family. I noticed in the last few years of my parents' life, or my dad's life in particular, that he was beginning to become confused and lose his memory. And I was going up to Lafayette once a week. This was before I moved him down here to help them. And as part of that, we were starting to go through photo albums to make it kind of fun for them. And my dad had pictures of his childhood in the big photo albums with the black pages and the corners. And I would ask him about some of these pictures and he would just launch into these stories. Well, I bought a white marker pen and I just wrote on those stories, wrote the highlights of those stories right on the pages of those scrapbooks, and knowing that eventually they would need to come out of there anyway. But I was able to capture a lot of his childhood early on before some of those memories faded. And I would love for you to be able to share those with someone else in your family. So, how do we begin to document our photos in albums if we would choose to?
Joe, you have a
And
question? Sorry, Jill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Joe, I didn't see it. Thank you, Kristen.
I'd like to reinforce that last point. 6 months ago, when I moved out of my house to come to this assisted living place, my kids and I went through boxes and boxes of unsorted photographs, been kept for hundreds of years, I guess, unidentified, undated, and we just had to trash most of them because we didn't know who the pictures were of and didn't know when they were taken or where they were taken. So my advice is simply, if you're going to keep it, document it. Thank you.
And Joe, that is a great idea. My mom was the best at that. Every single photo, she would list who was on it and the date. And now that is wonderful. Even our baby pictures. Now I don't have very many because my dad got into taking pictures with slides, and that's a whole different story for another day. But and what a gift, Joe, that is to be able to do that with your kids. Now, granted, some of them were thrown away, but what an opportunity to be able to do that with your children. And even the ones that you had, you could probably fill in the blank, at least if it wasn't the exact time, you would know about what year span it would have potentially been. So I think if we learn anything today, whether Kristen, it's you with your baby or us with other photos documenting as we go, write those dates. If you're printing photos, write the dates on the back and who it is. And if you are saving your photos on a PC, I don't know if you can do it on the phone because mine automatically uploads to my computer. You can do dates for pictures and you can put names of people in the photos in the information section of those photos. Kathy, do you do that on your PC? Do you have photos on your PC?
Oh, yes, mine is synced with my phone.
Okay, so it uploads automatically. Do you have a tendency to date the photos in your phone or on the PC?
No, when I go into photos, there is, you can find by year and then by
Okay.
month. And so that's the most organization I have done. I am very poor at getting that information down. I love to take pictures. I can print them off and I have them on the fridge. I have them framed. But I am very, very, I just do not do it. What you're saying, I don't date it, put the name on, I don't do that.
Well, and that's okay. Even if you print them out, you could just jot the name on the back or so that someday those would at least be put you in the ballpark of
Yeah.
the year that you do it. Now, the other thing is there are so many, and most of you have probably, since all of you are taking pictures, the ability to make very simple scrapbooks is out there. You can do Snapfish, you can do Shutterfly, you can make these little books for next to nothing and then make copies for everyone involved. This was a little book, we've been going to the same camp up in the North Woods of Wisconsin for 15 years, and we've been going with the same families. I picked a year when the kids were young, and I just went on Snapfish or Shutterfly and just drug in. I purposely took the pictures knowing I was going to do this. And again, I'm sorry about the glare, representing the families, and just drop and drag and write little comments at the bottom of the page. And then what I did was create a book. You create one book and you can do multiple copies, and gave one to each family. And this is a smaller size. I think this is 5 by 7. Then you can go a little bit bigger. This is an 8 by 8. This happens to be my son and Tammy's son, who have grown up together. Both of them are only children. And I had started, this is book number 1. I need to do book number 2 because now they're taller than we are. But it has gone through the years and documented the time that they've spent together. And I've done journaling at the bottom of the pages that this happened to be robotics camp that they did together. And then I wrote a little story over here that told about what they did during that time. I love these for gifts to give to other people. If you have a birthday party, you can make one, or a special friend that you've spent a lifetime with. If you have pictures that you can put your hands on and make one of these, people hold on to these for a long time. So that's kind of the easiest. One of the things that I do is on the phone, and I'm trying to be cognizant of time here, and we're getting close to the end, but one of my favorite things for the phone right now is a couple of apps that I use on a regular basis. Canva is the first one that's the one I'm in the class right now. And I'm kind of excited about that because it gives you digital templates and the ability to put words on your photos, dates on your photos. And it gives you really an opportunity to, excuse me just a minute, I'm gonna grab an example here. For instance, to make larger photos and put things right on the phone. This is a photo I took last winter of our house. And what I did was able to put printing right on the bottom of the photo, new home, new traditions. And this was for a project that I do every December called December Daily, where I document something every day in December and tell the story behind it. And so Canva is really good for that. Another app that I use almost exclusively is called the Project Life app. You can get it in the App Store again. And what it provides you, I think the app itself used to be free. It may be $1.99 now. And it gives you some basic templates that you can use to provide drop and drag photos. This is a page that I made out of the Project Life app. And again, I'm trying to not get the glare, where basically I was able to drop the photos into these templates and do the journaling right here. And this is great for kids' books if you want to keep up with, especially Kristen, littles that change so quickly. And you can drop the photos. This happens to be an 8x8, and then upload it for printing. And you've got everything right there. So the Project Life app is something that I use all the time. Once you are able, so you have templates, you can just do 4x6 photos. But once you do that, then what do you do? And again, we can do these kinds of books, or the next thing you can do is begin to create a memory book. And I have done those several over the years. A traditional standard, and I'm going to kind of hurry up here a little bit so we don't, I'm going to try to keep an eye on time. This is a traditional memory book that I made when my son was small. It was for my parents. And every once in a while, I would upload photos or print photos, and then do a spattering of photos that I would put on the page, and would love to do all the decorating and those kinds of things, because the creative outlet was something that I really enjoyed. So that's more of a traditional book. You go get it. This happens to be a 5x7. You can go to Michael's, you can go to Hobby Lobby, buy the book. They come with pages. You put the pages, you don't glue them, you adhere them to the page, and then you can do your journaling. So this is more of a standard kind of memory book. The next kind of memory book is more like a pocket page. And this is a 12x12 album. It's pretty big. This is my son's college album. I started it when he left home his freshman year as a way to take care of my mental health with being an empty nester. But this is what a pocket page kind of looks like. This is a 12x12 size. And you basically print your photos and you slide them in. It's very easy to do, and you're not spending a lot of time on the decorating itself, but you can do the different sizes through the Project Life app, have them printed, and you just drop them in the folder and tell the story. Leave room for journaling to tell the story. So this is more of a pocket page memory book. And then the last one is more of a hybrid book. This is my Christmas book. My December Daily is more of a hybrid, where I have pocket pages that are pockets that I can put in the photos, but I also have the ability to add other pictures and journaling on top of it. This happens to be my Bible study group and their Christmas party last year, our Christmas gathering, socially distanced, of course. And so that is what I would consider to be a hybrid between the two. Part of it's digital, part of it is actual photos. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. I know we've kind of done a bird's eye view, and I hope it was helpful, because I know some of you might be further along than others as far as what you're doing. But again, the goal of this is to capture the moments that are important. And we want to organize those photos so that we can access them and enjoy them, either for ourselves or for others. And most importantly, we want to tell the story and leave your legacy. So that's all I have. Any questions? Comments? I hope it was helpful, because I wasn't sure about where everyone was in their photographic journey.
I
It
think
was.
Very
Thank-
informative.
Yeah, very informative. Thank you so much, Jill. And I recorded the session as well, and I'll send it out to everyone so that you can kind of go back and review some of the points. And Jill, do you mind if I share some of your contact information with them? Just if they,
I am happy to, if I can help in any way, or if anybody would have any questions, I would love to do that. I love to help people document their legacy and their memories.
this has
Thank
been
you,
great.
Jill. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Jill,
thank
it
you,
was
Jill.
wonderful.
Thank
And
you
I
for
will-
your
I will
presentation.
also send out the information for our November meeting, so be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to join you for an hour.
Thanks, Jill. Thank you,
Good.
everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Have a
See
great
you.
day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.